Hi everybody, Whitney with Girl Friday Crafts here. Welcome to Craft With Me Friday, and today we are going to be using the July Club Couture transfer, or project. I told my email list the other day, I think my camera's not right. I don't know, I've got a different setup again, so I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be looking, but I told my email list the other day that as much as I promote club and talk about club as a great way to try chalk without a huge investment of money, I don't do a very good job of actually using it in projects and showing you when I've finished a club project for the month. Like that actually came up in a team meeting. It's like, oh no, I do a very, very bad job of that. So I decided to rectify that. So every month going forward, one Craft With Me Friday will include the club project. It might be the current month, depending on timing, or the prior month. So I haven't gotten my August kit yet, so I'm going to go ahead and use July's because I actually hadn't done anything with this yet. If we have time, we're going to do 2 projects because this is a multi-use transfer. So if you have club and you don't have a whole lot of other chalk products, you have enough with the transfer and the paste to do 2 different things. So I'm going to kind of show you that. I have 2 different ideas for this, and I'm going to attempt, I think, a new technique for me in this with the second project. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to angle this camera down here. See if I can get it back where I wanted it. Yep. So you all know I've been messing with camera angles and whatnot to make sure that you get the best view of the project and my hands and things while I'm working, but also to make sure I get good audio quality. So just because of how all this technology works, I have to use my phone for the audio. And if my phone is too far away, then you don't get really good audio quality. So trying to figure out how to get my phone closer, get an angle where you can see. So I think I like how it looks right now. You've got the angle on the side. Let's see if I can bring this a little closer. And my camera here, but you've also now I've figured out how to get a top down, which I think is actually going to be better. So this is a brand new transfer, and the surface this month is this gusseted canvas bag with the blue handles. I also saw somebody do this project, and I was thinking about doing something similar, but then kind of having different colors. They found a canvas bag that had the blue stripe across the bottom, and then it was a little bit bigger than this, and they put the blueberries on it. And my thought was, oh my gosh, that would be so cute with, we had a lemon design from this spring, so with the yellow, we had an orange or peach design, so if you could get a peach color, and then the blueberries with the blue. So I'm kind of on a hunt for the bags that come in with the different colors down there on the bottom, because I think that'd be cute. And then all kinds of things you can do with it for the holidays. I'm one of those people, I'm never going to have too many canvas bags, even though I really have too many canvas bags. But I like having options. So actually, I don't have to fuzz this because this is an ink project and we're working on a textile. So when you do that, you don't fuzz the transfer because you want it to stick as much as possible. So that's nice. And so then you just sort of line it up where you want. I did already use my heat press on this bag a little bit to get some of the moisture out so that the design adheres a little better. That's a heat transfer vinyl technique that I also use in this chalk. Didn't take my little silica gel packet out of there. And then Typically it's recommended that you use a ink mat for two reasons. One, you don't want the ink to bleed through onto the other side if you're doing a t-shirt or a bag like this. And two, it helps hold your project in place so that when you pull your transfer up, the surface stays down and it gives you a little bit of tension. I don't love the heat mat, or the ink mats. I struggle with them. And so I was doing a t-shirt. I actually think I was doing it on a live or on a video. And I was getting ready to start and realized I didn't have an ink mat. And I didn't want to go try to find my ink mat. So I had one of these cardboard inserts that comes with a lot of the chalk projects. They'll be wrapped in cellophane and they'll have the cardboard. You know, the surface will be on the cardboard. The whole thing's wrapped in cellophane. So I keep these occasionally. But I had one of these handy, so I just stuck it in the shirt underneath the transfer. And I found that I actually like that better. So we're going to try that again this time and see. Now, I would say if you're doing a tea towel or something like that, an ink mat's probably best. But we're going to try this and see how it goes. So the kit comes with two colors. So this month it came with, or July, it came with Black Velvet and Cadet. I actually have those in jars, which I think I'm going to go grab instead of opening the paste packs. Because I can find my black. I apologize. I actually thought about this and then changed my mind. And then apparently changed my mind again. But I use those paste packs as giveaways sometimes, or part of giveaways sometimes, or try me kits at shows and things like that. So I kind of like to hold on to my paste packs because I don't necessarily use them for projects. But they're very handy. They are very nice, especially if you really only want one color. You know, it's like, I don't love this color, but I want it for a project. I don't want to buy a whole jar because I don't know that I'll use it again, like that kind of thing. And it would be helpful if I got ink. Ooh, that was about to be a problem. Went to get colors and I grabbed paste. If you want to use ink or textiles, you'd think, I mean, it's not like I don't know that. Just the paste is on top, so that's what I grabbed. Okay, now I have ink. I don't know where my cameras are. Where are my cameras? Here are my cameras. Now I have ink. Okay. Put it together. So we're going to stir these up a little bit. I have found that ink dries out less easily than paste. So I haven't touched this Black Velvet ink in several weeks, but it's doing just fine. And so I'm going to do the Fresh Local Organic in black. I'm going to do the Pick Your Own, and I'm going to do the 15-cent per quart in black. I'm going to do the Blueberry in blue, Sweet and Tasty in blue, and probably just because of where the leaf falls on this project, I'm just going to do the whole thing in blue. Obviously, the leaves on a stem of blueberries are not blue, but it's okay. And I've seen people who've done this project and have done the whole thing in blue, and it looks really good. Like even like the words and stuff, just taken the Cadet or even another shade of blue and just done the whole thing in blue, and it looks really good. I like it a lot. But I just want a little variation in this project. And I do think I'm going to incorporate some green in the other project if there's time. What I want to do there is some watercoloring. So I'm going to use the transfer on an new acrylic surface that we have. I'll show you all. And I'm going to do it in black. And then I'm going to go back into places that don't have color because there was no negative space in the transfer. And, paint in the blue and the green to add that color in there. So I like that this is an ink project. It allows people to experience working with textiles. This is actually I think it's the second chalk ink project, chalk Club Couture ink project we've had in the past couple months. Or were the tea towels? No, the tea towels weren't ChalkCon because I have 2 of those. We had a tea towel project, which I did include in a video. I just didn't do a whole lot with it. I just showed you real quick. And then we had something else in between. And then we had this. And then August, if you caught it in the email or if you're in Design Studio, or if you are a club customer already and you get the mailing lists, then you saw the August. It's a beautiful botanical with watercolor paper. And I am going to do a ink and pull here to try to make sure that I have everything. So that's, basically the same thing as what you've seen me do on paste and pull is, you go over everything that you want in one color or one section, and then you slowly start to lift up the transfer. And see, I struggle with ink and I don't really know why. I think maybe I don't use enough at the outset. I've gotten so used to not having to layer on a whole lot of paste that I think I've started to do the same thing with the ink, and I just don't. I think I need to use more ink than probably what I've been using to make sure that I get into all of that negative space. I might have a little bit of bleed here because I lifted that transfer up all the way and then put it back down. Yeah, that's better. So doing that kind of allows you to check and kind of see where you are. So we're going to try on this one. On the pick your own, I'm going to go real thick on the ink, almost to the point where you can't even see the design underneath. Okay, well, maybe not. You can see the design underneath. But again, just more ink and then really kind of squeegee off. And then we're just going to pull this up from the side very slowly so I can catch if something didn't go through all the way. Oh yeah, much better. Okay, so I think that's the ticket. I think I just don't use enough ink at the beginning. We'll do the same thing here with this 15 cents. Just make sure I get a really thick layer. Make sure I cover all that negative space. Squeegee that off. Try try not to get off the edge of my design here. You can always put tape. You know, I could put painter's tape or something underneath right there, or I could put the backing sheet of the transfer. There we go. Much better. Okay, well, figured that one out. All right, so that's all I'm going to do in black. So I'm going to put that over there. Make sure that you guys have good, okay, I think you guys have good angles. And my cadet has not been opened. I have a lot of inks that have not yet been opened. I had some, I'm trying to remember when I kind of made an investment in ink because stuff was on sale, or I had some design dollars to use. And there wasn't, you know, like I didn't have anything sitting on my wish list or anything like that. So I was like, well, let's buy some inks because I don't have those. Okay, this one's, these usually are not this hard to open, but this one is, there we go. Of course now I think I just have to accept that I'm going to get ink all over me sometimes when I do this. Also, a little trick when you're opening one of those is, I don't know if you saw me, you probably couldn't see me do it, is I try to do it over open the lid over my trash can so that if anything drips, it doesn't drip on my surface. So you all didn't really see it, but try to rock the little seal thing back and forth as you're opening it, especially when you get close to the very end. That way you don't end up flinging ink everywhere, which I have done. So this shade of blue is called Cadet. There are multiple shades of blue. There's a midnight that I think would look really pretty. There was last month's color of the month was Orion, which was like a deep purple, which I think would look really cool with this. You could, you know, combine the colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go along the edge of all the letters first, just to be sure that I get a little bit there and I'm avoiding pulling any black in or getting up into the letters up there. And again, I'm gonna try to use a lot of ink here. And then when I've done that, I'll get a larger squeegee and fill in all the rest of it. Again, ink is a little more forgiving, so it doesn't dry quite as fast. So y'all are gonna think this is really funny. I listen to myself, I hear myself talk as I'm on these videos, and I hear the kind of sing-song that I get, and it makes me crazy. So I'll have this mental, don't talk like that. Years of being a trainer in the day job. All right, so I have all that. I'm going to keep this small squeegee handy in case I need it, but now I'm going to pull out a larger one so I can cover more area at one time. And I'm going to pull, some of that down, but not all of it because I want to keep it kind of thick. Try to move in the same direction. There is some distressing in these letters, so you are going to have some places where it looks like you didn't get ink, but that's actually just the distressing in the design. And I love those designs because it's so much harder to tell if you messed up on something because you automatically have that distressing. So if there is a place where you missed something, or, you know, the paste or the ink pulled up as you were pulling up the transfer. It's just not as evident. Those spots are easy to fill in. I have learned that actually if you need to go back and fill something in, let everything dry first and then go back and do it, because if you try to fill in spots on wet paste or ink, at least for me, I end up just smearing what is already okay. I end up smearing and making things worse. So I found that if I let something dry first and then I go back and try to fix it, it looks better. And then, you know, some of the surfaces you can, if you get to it quick enough, almost any surface you can wipe something off. But like the couture boutique surfaces and the reusable surfaces, obviously it's really easy to fix on those, because those are surfaces intended to be reused, so you can clean the paste or ink off and fill in, or you can start over if you feel like that's the only way to fix something. But a lot of times you can fix something without even having to do that. So I'm going to lift this up, just this part, just the word, as much as I can. And slowly, so I can see if I just got ink on my hand. Hee hee. Okay. Now, obviously there was some spots in the leaf that I didn't get, but I didn't go over that all the way. And I'm going to take a stir stick and just very gently try to push that back down a little bit. And now we're going to go back over and we're going to do the rest of it. So Club Couture is a monthly subscription. You sign up for 3 months to start off at a minimum, although you can sign up for longer. It's $21.99 a month plus tax. It automatically gets shipped to you every month. You don't have to do anything. If you are a Perks member, it's $17.19 a month. You get 30% off of your club purchase. You get 30% off of all purchases if you're a Perks member. You can gift your club on a given month. So let's say, I don't know, let's say you have a friend who is wanting to try it. You can opt to, gift your subscription. You can also purchase a gift subscription for someone. You can cancel at any time. And, like I've said, it's just a great way to try the product. You get the surface, you get the transfer, you get the paste or ink, depending on what it is. And you usually got a small squeegee, and I don't know if I just didn't get it out of the package and it was in there, or if they stopped doing that. So I should check on that. So you might need if you aren't currently a club member, you might need a squeegee. If you were to sign up as a club member, for me, and you don't have a squeegee, I would send you one. they're nice to have. It's nice to have more than one. It's nice to have multiple sizes. Okay, so we're going to lift this up from the bottom. Nice and slow. Oh, I had a little spot right there. I might get some bleed here because of that, pulling it all the way up, but that's also possibly because I had pulled up that area of the leaf when I did the letters and it just didn't go all the way back down. Well, I guess that's how it's supposed to be. Okay. I'm going to pull that up. And that is our completed project. That is probably one of the best ink projects I've ever done. So I'm glad I experimented a little bit with the amount of ink I was using, because I think that was obviously part of the problem. So I'm going to clean this transfer really quickly so we can use it again here in a minute. If I let it sit for too long, I won't be able to use it again without completely washing it. So if you are working on a project and you are wanting to reuse a transfer right away without completely washing it and drying it, you can take Clorox wipes and clean it. Now, this is messy. I don't do it very often, but I did want to show you something else that you could do with the club transfer. And while I have another transfer, because I have two separate club subscriptions, I'm actually gifting that to somebody this month, and so I didn't want to open it. And the acrylic surface is reusable, so I'm using that surface really just to show you all the technique. If I don't like how it truly looks, I can wash it and start over, do something different. We also have, I also thought about doing that today, but I decided to go with the acrylic. We also have new shiplap surfaces. They're so cute. I like my shiplap, and they are something like this would look really, really adorable on a shiplap surface. I actually think I saw a picture. Somebody used one of those surfaces for this. Now, you don't necessarily have to worry about cleaning the front of the transfer. You're really just trying to get ink out of the negative space on the back, and also you don't want to turn your transfer over and put the sticky side down on anything other than the backing sheet. What I can do is when I go to put it on the acrylic surface, I can take a wipe and just rub it off, rub it real quick. But the front of that should dry, and then we should be able to just use it again pretty quickly. We're gonna put my tools away. So you're gonna want to dry your product project. And like chalk or like paste, if you hold it at an angle in the light, you can tell when it starts to dry. Now I am not necessarily right this second gonna let it dry. I'm not gonna worry about drying it all the way because we're gonna do this acrylic surface real quick, and then we're going to heat set this. So this will have a few minutes to dry before I need to heat set it. So I'm just going to set that to the side. I'm also rethinking my choice of this acrylic surface because I guess I can. This is a surface that's going to have to be where I'm going to have to fuzz the transfer. Now, yeah, having had it on the canvas bag will have helped a little bit, but these acrylic surfaces, they're wonderful and I love them. It's very cool. I'm very glad we have incorporated something like this into our surfaces. Does this have, I think this has film on it. No, I think these are glazed like that. Okay. However, the transfers stick like crazy. So I'm going to get this fuzzing cloth super, super dirty because I have to fuzz this transfer. But that's okay because it will come off. And I'm going to take a paper towel, right, and run it over the transfer, not to get ink off, but just to get it down on the fuzzing cloth. And yes, I'm getting ink all over my fuzzing cloth, but it's okay. It'll wash. But as you can see, like I've got some tension here. So it definitely needs to be defuzzed before I use it on this acrylic surface. It's two. And getting it on here and using this paper towel is getting some of this ink off the front. So we'll make it a little bit easier to work with. 3. Nothing like making a mess. 4. But I say it all the time, if I'm crafting and I'm not making a mess, I'm not really crafting. That's just me. 5. I'm going to try to do this about 10 times, again, because I know how transfers adhere to these acrylic surfaces. 6. I am feeling it, become easier to pull up off the fuzzing cloth. Okay, one more time. I think I'll be all right. And, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's fine. I can try it again. Okay. Set that to the side. And get this right. Y'all know I don't worry much about, I don't measure unless it is like something somebody paid me for. Try to get things even, but I mostly just ballpark it. And then I'm going to use this paper towel to push this down. I don't really care about getting ink on my fingers. It's just that I don't want to then get ink everywhere because, or now we're going to use paste. I don't want to get it everywhere. Because I've touched the surface and then touched something else, and now all of a sudden I have black paste everywhere. So obviously we're going to use paste for this. This poor little thing of black is drying out on me. So if you have a jar of paste or ink that is starting to dry out, you can use distilled water to bring it back. There's a word for that, something, and it's just not coming to me. You want to just spritz a little, stir. If you need more, spritz a little, stir. You don't want to put too much water in all at once, or you might end up watering it down too much. Because I'm doing this all in black to start off with, I'm not going to really worry too much about getting a small squeegee. And I am going to paste heavier than I normally would, again, because of the surface itself and because I've used this and not completely washed it. So I want to make sure I've got plenty of paste to get down in to that negative space. I should normally start from the middle and work my way out. I didn't do that this time. This is a little thick. Also, a little less in this jar than I realized. You can ink on any surface, so really I could have just stuck with my jarred ink here. I'm trying to pull some of this down a little bit. If it's something that you're gonna want it washed, it has to be heat set in some way. You cannot chalk on any surface, or paste on any surface. So you can't use paste on textiles, for example. No matter what you do to it, it'll wash off. Now you can paste on things like coasters and things like that, and you can use like a Rust-Oleum sealant or the Mod Podge sealant. I use the Mod Podge sealant. And, you know, that will protect it from getting wet. You can do the same thing on glassware and things like that. But there's nothing, at least to my knowledge, and I could be wrong. And if there is another designer or somebody out there who's done it watching this video, tell me. But I don't think there's anything that you can put on a textile that would keep paste from coming off when you wash it. So you do have a little bit more versatility in that respect with ink, but we do have more paste colors than ink colors, and on certain things ink is easier to work with, on certain things paste is easier to work with, so it's really all about preference. I'm going to try to squeegee some of this off. Down to like the very bottom of this jar, and it's getting dried out, so I'm not terribly concerned about keeping a whole lot of the ink paste. See, this is why I shouldn't use two different things in one video. But, you know, there is enough of that for a couple more projects probably. Okay, so this is going to be telling. Ah, all right. Yay. So definitely apparently squeegeed enough. So that worked out really well. Drop this transfer in my water bath over here. If this is the first video of mine that you're watching, first of all, hello and welcome and thank you for watching. Thank you everybody for watching. But I keep two small plastic containers full of water off to the side. No, you can't really see them. One for tools, one for transfers, so that when I'm working on projects, I can get things in water right away and try to do multiple projects at the same time. So that turned out really well, and I'm going to show you this real quick because I'm actually doing okay on time. We've got plenty of time. But I just want to show you this acrylic piece goes in this floating frame. So I have to be careful since this is wet. Not really sure how to get that in there at this point. But anyway, I'll figure that out when it's dry and I'm not worried about touching it. But it goes in this floating frame, and there's this size and there's a 5x7 size for like an A size transfer design. Oh, I bet you do it this way. Yep, okay, I'll figure that out. So I'm going to dry this a little bit. And again, you know, even on this surface, you hold it in the white and you can tell whether or not it's drying. I'm second guessing myself because no, I don't think this has a, sometimes these things have like a protective sheet on them, but I think this is a frosted. I'm pretty sure this is a frosted look. Well, if it's not supposed to be, it is now. So what we're going to do, and I'm not going to do all of this on the video because I want to finish up the our little tote bag. But we're going to take and we're going to do a watercolor technique, which I've never done before. I've seen it done. I think it's super neat and wanted to try it. So you're going to get some water on your brush, not a lot. And you're going to take your paste and you're just going to paint wherever you want color. So I want to fill color in on these blueberries. And you know, you can do as much of it as you want. You can do as little as you want. So, you know, if all you want to do is just a hint of color, then we would just do like the outside of these blueberries. And then not like fill in all the big gaps, but just fill in some of these little gaps here, so that we just have the slightest hint of that blue. Or you fill in all the gaps and you know, paint it all in, so you have all the blue on the blueberry. And then you can, you know, obviously fill in the, I don't know what that's called on a blueberry, that little, it's probably a brownish color tip on the ends. And this little rosette here. I'm not a blueberry person, so not really sure. I like blueberry muffins, and that's about it. Don't like blueberry pancakes. I'm a traditionalist, honestly, on pancakes. I don't like anything in my pancakes. But I don't like blueberry pie. I don't like blueberries themselves. So I don't really know what they look like. So you all can't really see the blue. I'll hold it up here in a minute. But then what I'll do too is I'm going to grab some green and paint in the stem. And actually, if I do this, this might help too. I like this work mat, but it doesn't give a lot of contrast color. So there, that's better. You can see that a little better. So when I'm on video and I'm doing something, you don't see a lot of the contrast. So, you know, you want to periodically put your paintbrush back in the water, just so that you know, get that watercolor technique. Obviously, you don't have to do that. You don't have to put the paintbrush in the water. You don't have to do you know, try to get the watercolor look, but it, you know, spreads your paste out or ink out a little more depending on what you're doing. And it also gives a little bit of different kind of dimension to the project. We're just going to do this little blueberry. And then I'm going to grab some green and do just a little bit on the leaves so you can kind of see. I think green might pop more for color. You can also flip this over and paint on the back so that it gives it, I might actually do that with the leaf. I didn't bring a cup down here for my brushes. I'm going to dry this blueberry. You can see that a lot better on the blue. So see, you got that. But, and I'm not sure you'll be able to see it on the video. So the other way that you can do this, and this gives it some depth. Paper towel. I'm going to turn this over. And I'm going to lay this down really carefully so that I don't smudge it, just in case it's still a little wet. And I'm going to get another small brush here. But you can paint it from the back. And this just adds some to it. So again, I'm not sure that you'll be able to completely see the full effect on video, but we're gonna try. A little bit of this meadow, and I'm gonna go up here. This isn't exactly the best brush. The one I was using on the blue had a very nice pointed tip on it. The other thing that's kind of nice about doing this from the back is you can paint the whole area, which actually I'm going to try this with the color that you want, and you're not painting over the black. You're not painting over kind of your outline. So on the back here, you're just filling in. And this green, if this is going to work the way I think, should then just show through. Let me get some more water on here so this is thinner. I should also be using fresh water, not necessarily the water that I have my tools and stuff in, but doing a second project was kind of a last minute decision. And I was already down here and didn't think to go back upstairs and grab a cup of water. Someday I'll have a sink in my basement. I'll make those things a little bit easier. So I'm just painting in this whole area on the back side. Now obviously this is a floating frame, so if you're going to do it this way, you want to think about where you're going to put those, and you're going to probably want to put it somewhere that the back isn't going to be quite as visible. So I'm going to flip this over. Yep, that did exactly what I wanted. Hold on, I'm going to dry this real quick so I can lay it down. So then on the green, you know, I didn't have to worry about staying in between the lines or anything like that to not cover up any of the black area. And if you wanted to even get more depth and dimension, then you could come over here on the front and you could, you know, even use a different color green. So like I could get pesto and I could come in up here and fill that in on this side a little bit. Again, a different shade of green to fill in some of the spots that I didn't get all the way. And, you know, some of that on the front as opposed to on the back. So this is just another, you know, option for the club kit, just to kind of show the versatility. You know, you can reuse these transfers H12 times. And so, you know, when you get club and you get the one project, that's not obviously not the only thing that you can do with it. I also wanted to highlight this acrylic frame. I think what I can do is I can put it in, yeah. So you kind of put it in, you turn the handles up and slide it down, and then it flips. Duh. So you've got this little floating frame. You kind of get it in place. I'm going to lay it down so you can see it. That's what that looks like. I don't know if I stand it up, if you can see it really well in the video. Yeah, you can. So that's that. And I just had a brilliant idea for a Christmas scene. If you did that and then set this with a light of some sort, a light source behind it, how gorgeous would that look? So I'm going to take this out of the frame because I want to finish this at some point. One of the other things I've seen people do with the watercolor technique is they'll do, and if I was going to do this, I would have done the design of like the berry in Dune or Vanilla. It's a very, very light color. And then gone back over and completely watercolored it in with whatever colors I wanted. And you let that dry. And then you go back over it with the transfer in black to then add your lines and stuff in. So that's another way to do that. And I'll do that in another video because this is another technique that I want to continue to play with. So I'm going to set this aside. Okay. So I'm going to swap places back here with the tote bag. So this should be completely dry at this point. Every time I say that. kind of dry it as much as possible before we heat set it. Because when you heat set, you have to put parchment paper or a Teflon sheet over it. And you don't want any of your ink coming off on that if you can help it. Okay, so that's dry, so we're gonna take this out. Now that's nice, with the canvas there was really no bleed through, so that's lovely. And I'm gonna get my mat for my heat press. Now normally with the heat press I use towels instead of the mat when I'm doing t-shirts, because the mat's too small and I end up pressing lines in my t-shirt. I don't like that. But for this, for something like this, it's perfect. And I need to look up really quickly my notes on, I think it's 3:30. Excuse me, goodness, the second time I'm doing a video. Yep, 3:30 for 30 seconds is where you start with your press. So I have a Cricut Easy Press. It works great for me. It does great for these projects and for t-shirts. I need to grab a Teflon sheet. So we're going to let that heat up. So I talked about Club Couture. I'll put a link for that. It is still early in August. I believe we still have the August color of the month available. I don't think that has sold out yet. And then throughout the month of August, Chalk is doing 50% off enrollment for Perks members and designers. So if you have been curious at all about Perks, again, it's 30% off any order. Anytime you get $20. It is $20 a month to be a Perks member. It's a subscription, but you get $20 back in design dollars. So you can you pay $20, you get $20 to spend. So it kind of evens out. And then there are also a lot of times promos and exclusives for Perks members. There was a recent one that I can't even remember what it was now, but it was available to Perks members and designers only. So it's normally $20 a month to become a Perks member. In August, it's $10, and you still get $20 in design dollars. And then after August, it'll go back to $20 a month. It is also $10 off to become a designer, and I'm not even going to begin to talk about what the prices on those are because I always get it wrong every single time I say it. So it's not expensive to become a designer at all. There's two options. You can just sign up and then you can get an enrollment kit, and it's $10 either way. Designers get 40% off, and then you also have the ability to sell the product, either finished goods or raw materials. So if anybody likes Chalk and is interested in an income opportunity, designer is an option. But from a customer perspective, and if you like discounts and if you like getting things, at a lower price, then Perks is obviously an excellent option. And you can quit that and you can cancel that at any time as well. So we're going to put the heat press down. I'm going to stand up because I can get more leverage. And you're going to hold it. You don't want to move it around just in case there is anything wet. It'd be helpful to start my timer. And you're going to hold it for about 30 seconds. You can use Teflon sheet or parchment paper. Teflon tends to leave a shinier finish on a design, although there's not a lot of noticeable difference in my opinion. I like the Teflon sheets because they last longer than parchment paper. And what you're checking for on the heat set is, whoo-wee, that got steamy, is that the ink doesn't feel tacky anymore. It's nice and smooth. You want to be careful, obviously, when you touch it, because right after you've taken the heat press off, it's going to be hot. But you'll know. I can't describe it unless you've done it before. You'll know that if it needs to be heat set more. Make sure that you take your ink mat or your cardboard, if that's what you're using, out before you heat set. So there are some spots where, as it dried, you could tell, like, it looks like I missed a little there and there and there. Now that I've heat set it, going back to fix that will be more difficult, so I'm not going to worry about it. But once it was dry, but before I heat set it, I could have taken a paintbrush, or we have this artist's tool that has a little pointed squeegee tip on it, or a very, very small squeegee, and filled in some of those spots. But again, because this has a distressed look anyway, I'm not terribly worried about it. Okay, so I think that's everything for today. I don't know why it doesn't look like I'm looking at you when I'm looking at the camera. That's strange. Yeah, okay, so that's everything for today. This was the July Club project. I'm going to put links in the description. The August project, I'll put a picture of that in the video somehow so you can see what that is like. I'll put my email in the description, so if you have questions, you can email me. And yeah, I'll be back next week with a new video, new project. If you have ideas or suggestions on what you would like to see me do, techniques that you've seen that you would like, I'd like to learn more about that, or if you've seen a project, heck, if there's something on Pinterest that you've seen that you're like, hey, I'd like to see you do something like this, send it to me. I'd love to give it a shot. Yeah, thanks for watching so much. I appreciate your time, and I will see you all next week.